Welcome to
Spread the Word!
So I read Unlikely Animals by Annie Hartnett, and we read Rabbit Cake by her for book club 4 years ago? I mean, it was one of the...
It was one of the first years, so it was 5.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, more than a couple, also more than a few. I really enjoyed it, and so I was really excited when I saw that she was releasing Unlikely Animals. Rabbit Cake had this sort of like magical realism feel. There wasn't anything in it that was necessarily magical realism,
But it felt
had
like it
this,
could be around any corner.
Yeah, it had this feel like a very like a whimsy type feel, even with the subject matter, which had a lot to do with grief, and this is very similar, except there is actual magic of some sort happening. We have this 22-year-old Emma who was off to school in California, and she's returning home to Everton, New Hampshire, where her family lives. Her father, her mother, and her brother Augie, who is getting over a heroin addiction. He's been in rehab a couple times, and he's a recovering addict. She's coming home because her dad is dying from some unknown disease that the doctors don't know what it is, but it's giving him hallucinations. So he's hallucinating this naturalist that lived in the town, Harold Baines, in like 1911. He lived on this estate in the town, and apparently had like a pet bear and a pet fox and like a bunch of just wild animals as pets. Her dad, Clive, is seeing him and also seeing animals, but you're that he's really seeing him. Yeah. Because you have like Emma's perspective, and then you have the perspective of the town ghosts.
Oh.
Yeah, who are kind of like watching the goings on in Everton.
So you know what I immediately thought of when you said it like that?
What?
Is the scene in Mulan with the ancestors.
Oh.
When they're all around.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Man.
So like they kind of like give their 2 cents all throughout. Emma is returning to town, and apparently when she was born, and when she was a young child, she had this thing called, her father called the charm, where she could heal people. Not like a lot. It was kind of like a minor healing. And it seems that she has lost that ability. But, you know...
Did she go to med school because she thought she could like kind of cheat?
Yeah. She gets back and she has to tell them, look, because they were hoping that she would come back and be able to heal her father, who has this unknown disease, like I said. And she can't. Yeah. So she has to tell them that, and there's all the stress around him hallucinating animals everywhere and hallucinating Harold Baines, the naturalist, on top of that. And their mother Ingrid is like stressed. They're obviously dealing with like all of this like family fallout from Augie having this addiction and Emma not being there. Anyway, so she finds out when she goes there that her best friend from high school, Crystal, who had a heroin addiction, has disappeared. Nobody knows where she is. So there's also this like kind of like mystery happening too, while the family drama is happening, and all of the like magical realism elements are happening. There's this really funny scene. He's got his red parka on, his like flannel pajamas, his boots. He gets on a motorcycle that has a sidecar, and his dog, a Great Pyrenees, white, big, giant dog, gets in the sidecar, and he puts a helmet on him, and his pet fox, which he bought for $18,000 off of a Russian website.
What?
Yeah, their mom was pissed. And then this fox is also in the sidecar. And they're just like going down an icy street, and like you can just like see it so vividly in your head. She describes it like you can see it in like some sort of like whimsical indie film. That you're like imagining the scene. So this is the second book of hers that I've read, and she does seem to really be focused on grief a lot and how people are dealing with grief. And one of the scenes in here is like, you know, the dad is dying and they don't know of what, and there's like a scene where Emma's sitting in the car and she starts to get upset, and it talks about like preemptive grief, people who are having grief before it actually happens, like anticipating the death, you know, and like having it hit you at that moment. But yeah, I just feel like she so far does a really, really good job of framing grief in this really creative and really emotional way. I don't know, the town is just really funny, and then you have, like I said, the extra element of the ghosts that are watching the town. Apparently there are rules within the cemetery where you can't meddle or you explode into dust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Them's high stakes.
Yeah. And so they'll like, if like Harold, who has kind of like become this like weird, I don't know, kind of well-meaning but terrible guardian angel to Clive, the dad, he'll like ask leading questions to get him to do what he wants him to do, but won't ask him, like tell him directly, because then he's meddling.
Oh, what a
they've
loophole.
Really done a workaround
that
on
that is
Yeah.
a cosmic loophole. 'Cause I feel like that's objectively
That's
meddling.
meddling.
Yes, absolutely.
It sounds good.
It is very
Sounds very
good. Yeah, it's very good. I liked it a lot.
Like, despite the heavy topic, still kind of lighthearted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I read Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. The idea here is that there is a hotel that travels the world magically. Shows up in a different city every night.
Mm-hmm.
Every night.
Every night.
Wow, that's a lot.
Every night.
of travel.
Yes. It sounds both wonderful and stressful at the same time.
Yeah.
If you couldn't do it with magic, obviously it would be impossible.
Yeah.
Besides being impossible.
It's logistically a nightmare. They show up to different countries that will allow them in. Some countries don't allow them in. And hand out invitations to people to come stay at the hotel. It is supposedly not determined on like ability to pay, even though it costs thousands upon thousands of dollars to stay. And then you travel with the hotel for months at a time. And you sign a contract where you forget everything once you're done. You just know it was wonderful. And
I
every
take that deal.
I know, it seems like they could do anything to you.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, but everybody loves it. And they get super excited about it. And the whole place is enchanted, so like if you try and cross the threshold and you don't have an invitation, you'll like be expelled. So if you work there, you also sign a contract. And if you're not in the hotel at midnight,
You also poof into dust.
I don't know if you
gosh,
poof
what's
into
with all
dust,
the
but you
poofing?
die.
Oh my god.
Something bad happens. I imagine that you like immolate or something. It's not good.
Okay.
It's not going to be good for you.
Interesting.
You'll probably cease to exist.
Cool.
That stinks.
Yeah. So no one leaves. In this book, we are following Yanni and her sister Zosha. She and her sister have been on their own, living in like a boarding house, and everything is vaguely French. Like it's a magical world, but it's French.
French.
Kind of.
French magical.
Okay.
Beauxbatons.
So Zosha and Yanni are, their mother died. They went to Dirk to basically try and like find a better life. It's like the big city. And then they get there and they're like, oh, this sucks. And Zosha, she's like a very good singer. They're like, it's gonna be the meal ticket.
Oh, God.
Then, shockingly, it was not the meal ticket that she thought it was gonna be. Yanni's very protective of Zosha. You know, they work menial jobs, or just scraping by. The hotel comes and it's like, this is our chance. Well, let's try and go get jobs there. So they go. And Zosha does get a job as a singer in the lounge because she does have a beautiful voice. And then Yanni, they're like, no, there's nothing special about you. So she is like, I am not going to let my 12-year-old sister go alone.
Right.
She hoodwinks her way with this guy. His name is Bell, who is like an agent of the hotel. Basically, like both appeals to his heart for her sister and also just annoys the hell out of him, and like just refuses to leave. And he ends up getting her a contract to work there, in that he steals the contract.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
And
she really worked him good.
she was very annoying,
Okay.
very persistent. There's also like spoilers,
Romance.
a lot of sexual tension.
Could smell that from a mile away.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as you're
It's
like
good.
a boy named Belle, I was like,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
excellent.
So
And there's nothing extraordinary about her.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know, or
she's
so
just
the hotel. You know.
she's
Yeah.
just a plain Jane.
Right.
Yep.
A plain Jane.
she gets a contract, but Belle grabs the wrong kind of contract. He grabs a guest contract.
Uh-oh.
And Belle, as it turns out, is like he is the Magnifique. He does all of the big magic that takes them to city to city.
Cool.
And then also the magic works differently on guests versus employees at the hotel. And so like wherever Yanni goes, she hears like narration that's meant for guests.
Narration.
Like
Huh.
welcome to
Oh,
blah blah
God.
blah.
That'd be terrible.
and like the rooms react differently, and like she doesn't get the same, like she doesn't get like her work notifications that she needs to be X, Y, and Z place.
Wait, is she still trying to pretend like she's an employee?
Mm-hmm. She also discovers that the employees are really sheepish to talk about what their life was like before. She spends the book trying to figure out how to get her, first how to like correct her own contract, but then she's like, this place is weird.
Yeah.
We're just gonna disembark. We're gonna leave. We're gonna quit. We're gonna save up enough money and then go back to our home. Then she like figures out they can't. And then she's like very determined. She's still going to figure out a way. And along the way, she discovers a lot of very bad secrets. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, things are definitely not what they seem at the Hotel Magnifique in multiple ways.
Okay, yes. So I read this one for this month. So, as you might guess from the very artistic cover, it is about a vampire. Her name is Lydia. It takes place in present day in the UK. She is Asian, British, but her mom is Malaysian and her father was Japanese. And her mom is a vampire, but her father is dead.
Is vampirism heritable in this situation?
No. So that's one of the interesting things about the book. Okay, so she is 18, and in this like vampire lore, so she was turned as a baby, and then she grew as a normal child until she became like fully mature as an adult like organism, and then she wouldn't like change after that point. So the book starts though where she's put her mother in a home because her mom's having dementia. And I guess there's some, like, it must be that you die eventually as a vampire. You're not totally immortal because some sort of disease is affecting her mind. And and Lydia, like, wants to start her life. And so she's finished college. And so she puts her mom in a assisted living facility type thing for people with, like, diseases like Alzheimer's or something like that. And she is starting an internship at this art gallery thing. She's clearly floundering, like as an 18-year-old does, especially someone with all these extra things.
Yeah.
She realizes pretty soon that she doesn't have a good source for getting blood. She didn't realize how, like, her mom, she didn't know how her mom did it before. It was just the butcher let her like take pig's blood from her, but then she finds out when she tries to get it herself that that's not actually legal in the UK. So then she ends up ordering some like really gross sounding powdered blood on the internet. It's weird because she has this like she always wants to like push herself to the limit of like when she needs to eat next. Because like she needs to consume blood to keep her body functioning, but she can go for a pretty long time on just a single feeding, I guess. So she is like always sort of battling this like low-lying hunger, but they don't feed on people. She's never had human blood or anything before. She moves into this studio. The guy who like shows her in and starts showing her around. Upon meeting him, she goes inside the studio and is like, "Can we turn off the lights?" He's like, "Okay." She's like, "I just have a migraine." She doesn't really. She's just sort of liking having this power play where she can like see in the dark and he can't see.
Oh, that's funny.
It's very odd. So there's lots of scenes like that, and also a lot of scenes where she's doing stuff that I can totally see myself doing when you're feeling very like listless. So like there's this one scene where she is on the floor of her studio. I think she has like a sleeping bag on one side and then there's like stuff on the other side. And instead of getting up, she just rolls. Like log rolls over really dramatically. And then she rolls back. She's really fascinated by food, but she can't eat human food. She can't digest it. But she'd love to like taste it, you know? So that is, yeah, it's obviously an allegory. And then the other interesting thing about the vampires in this is that they can like experience all the emotions of what they just ate. And they can like feel and taste what those things ate. Which also makes her want to eat people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like really a short period of time, like only a few months that the book takes place in, right after, like when she's trying to get her footing as a adult vampire. Yeah, I really liked it.
It sounds good. Thank you for coming to another edition of Spread the Word.
Yes.
We hope you will, in turn, spread the word.
And we'll see you next month. Okay, well, anyway, we love you.
Bye!
Bye.
Say bye, Pat.